Rain slashed sideways across the open plains, turning the Wyoming dusk into a blur of steel and smoke. Caleb Morgan pulled his oilskin coat tighter and drove another nail into the loose barn shutter. The hammer jarred in his fist. Thunder answered with a deep growl rolling down from the mountains. A night like this made even the coyotes hold their tongues. He wiped the rain from his brow and squinted toward the horizon. Nothing moved except the trembling line of cottonwoods that bordered his land. Nothing, until a dark shape broke free from the curtain of rain. At first he thought it was an elk stumbling across the flats. Then lightning tore the sky open and showed him a rider, bent low over a horse that looked ready to collapse. Caleb dropped the hammer. Instinct overrode sense. No one traveled in a storm like this unless they were desperate or foolish. He swung the barn door wide and stepped out into the rain, boots sinking in mud. "Hey!" he shouted. The wind swallowed his voice. The rider didn't answer, only clung tighter as the horse fought through the mire. When they finally reached the yard, the animal's legs gave out. The rider tumbled free, landing in the muck. Caleb caught the reins, murmuring to the trembling beast. It was done for now, foam at the mouth, eyes wild with terror but alive. He turned to the stranger. A woman. Her cloak was soaked, hair plastered to her face. She pushed herself up on trembling arms, lips pale as moonlight. Caleb's heart kicked once, startled by the sight of her, young, but carrying that same haunted weariness he saw every morning in his own mirror. "What in God's name?" he began. She tried to speak, coughed instead, voice hoarse. "Please, I just need shelter. A roof till morning." Caleb glanced toward the storm again, then back at her. His tone came rougher than he meant. "Get inside, widow." He didn't know why the word widow came out, maybe. It was the black of her dress, beneath the cloak, or the sadness in her eyes. Either way, she didn't argue. She stumbled toward the porch, gripping the railing as though it were the only thing keeping her upright. Inside, the fire in the stone hearth had nearly died. Caleb threw on more wood until it crackled and spat, flooding the cabin with amber light. The woman stood near the door, dripping on the worn floorboards, shivering but silent. "Sit down," he said gruffly. "You'll catch your death standing there." She obeyed, easing into the chair nearest the fire. Steam rose from her cloak as the heat found her. For a long moment, only the wind and the ticking of rain on the windows spoke between them. Caleb poured coffee into a tin cup and handed it over. She took it carefully, fingers shaking. "Thank you," she murmured. The voice was soft, careful, as if words were a luxury she'd nearly forgotten. He watched her from the edge of the table, arms crossed. "You said your horse went down?" She nodded. "Half a mile back. I couldn't leave him, but the mud was too deep. He'll live." Caleb's brow furrowed. Not many ride this trail after sundown, let alone in a storm like this. Her eyes flicked to the fire. "I didn't have a choice." He waited for more, but she said nothing. In the crackling silence, he caught details, a small locket at her throat, hands calloused like she'd worked, yet her speech was refined. Not a saloon girl, not a drifter. Something else. Caleb finally sighed and pulled a dry blanket from the trunk. "Here, you'll want this more than I do." When she took it, her fingers brushed his for half a heartbeat, cold, delicate but steady underneath. "I don't mean to trouble you," she said. "Too late for that," he replied, but without venom. "Storm'll keep you here till mornin', at least." The woman nodded once. "Then I'll be gone by dawn." Lightning flared through the window, carving her face in light and shadow. For an instant, Caleb saw not a stranger, but someone carved from the same loneliness that had kept him company for years. He turned away quickly, pretending to busy himself with the fire. Outside, the thunder rolled closer again.